Now time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. We flying solo today. That's right, but I'm not really solo because I got the squad here like I always do. I have Sawyer in the production booth. I have Sam in the sound booth as well. Fish is running around the compound somewhere also, but happy to have you all along for the ride. DMAC, Darren McCarty, away on some business. He will be out for this week. He's handled some stuff. He actually will join us, though, coming up 24 minutes past the second hour. We will talk Red Wings hockey. And look, I know that we got into the Lions and we got into the Michigan-Georgia game, and that was where we were going to go with that. But don't think, guys, that I forgot about Sunday. And I'm going to talk with DMAC about it because the Red Wings did play, and they did play Boston. And I was somewhat locked in for that game. I was looking forward to it, and I was doing the pregame show, so certainly I couldn't watch it. I was watching it kind of in the background when we were downtown in Royal Oak doing the Lions pregame show at O'Toole's. But I was disappointed. I wasn't mad. I was disappointed. And I'll explain why. When we have DMAC on, we'll discuss all of that. But my big problem with it was that they're in a playoff spot. Boston's in the mix with them. Here's a big game finally, maybe the first big regular season game we've had in a couple years, and they got cooked. So I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. We'll discuss. And jump in on our YouTube chat thread, whatever you guys have to say. You guys know the drill by now if you're watching on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel. If you're listening on the radio on 93.5 The Roar, 99.1 FM, or 94.7 HD2. Social media handles on the screen. You can send me a tweet. Got some tweets already also. And if you've not already, follow me on Twitter there. We had a clip where I was talking about Amon-ra St. Brown earlier yesterday. And, it's got a couple thousand views, and, there's some reaction on there and everything like that. And we'll discuss as we go on. And Jake Wegener in a YouTube chat thread says, Big Neil energy here today. No, because I got Sam and I got Sawyer up in here as well. So, we're certainly going to get it in. And, it's fun. You guys are funny, man. You guys always make me laugh. But I did want to get into this discussion, and I don't know that I'm going to spend a ton of time on it. And it relates to the football game yesterday. And yes, I know the Pistons got a big win over the Bucks. First time since 2018 they beat the Bucks. They were a 16-point underdog, which, by the way, I read somewhere that was the biggest, at least point spread-wise, that was the biggest upset in the NBA in the last 5 years. So we'll unpack all that as well. But, for me, I did turn on the Monday Night Football game. And obviously I turned to the Pistons as, I saw the score was close and it was coming down the stretch. And the reason I did was because I knew it was Ben Roethlisberger's final home game. Now, I don't know the scenarios, and Sawyer, you probably know these better because you're a Colts slappy. And the Steelers can still get in the playoffs, but that revolves around the Colts losing to the Jaguars, right? Isn't that the mix? It's something like that, yeah. So it's his last home game, everybody. Let's just be real about it because he was kind of verbal about it. He said, this is going to be it for me. And for me, with Ben Roethlisberger, I did want to tune in, which is weird because I'm not a big Ben Roethlisberger guy. I'm not somebody I don't. Whenever Ben Roethlisberger is playing, I wasn't like, oh, this is must-watch television. I have to tune in. And I got to be honest with you guys, as I was sitting there thinking about that, he's a no-doubt first-ballot Hall of Famer. There's no question. He's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. And he's great. Look at the numbers. And they were running through some of the stats during the broadcast yesterday. And just as far as he goes from a stats perspective, all of that stuff, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I have some thoughts on that. As we get into the second segment, we'll unpack that a little bit. And it's weird. Like, I don't. He's not a top 5 quarterback. Is he a top 10 quarterback? I don't know. When we were getting ready for the show, I had a kind of a reversal into one opinion, but we'll discuss that as well. A little bit of Lion stuff also, and we got some Dan Campbell sound on Amon-ra St. Brown because I'm his biggest champion. That's what I've been talking about. So DMAC will join the show as we talked about. So we'll talk Red Wings. We'll get into the Pistons also. We'll see what else you guys want to talk about throughout the day. And AC says Big Ben is boring like the Steelers, and the NFL forces us to watch them every week. And even in the chat thread here, there's that thought from AC, and then right under it is Jen Reed saying Steeler Nation. So it is incredible, and you probably hear it in the voice right now. And I talked about this with Sam, where got a little bit of a head cold going on. Do you guys feel like you have to announce it that it's non-COVID? Like it's not COVID. It's just, are we there? We're there with that, Sawyer?
Yeah. I feel it. Because, you'll be walking down the street, you'll cough or something, and just be like, oh, it's just allergy, guys. Don't worry about it.
Like, you want to announce it to everybody that's in the streets. I want to say, hey, guys, you hear it in my voice. Oh, my God. Yes, it's just a head cold, everybody. That's all it is. There's no fever attached to it. We can smell and taste everything. And I know WebMD is going to fire up right now and say, well, there's this. And
yeah, you're dead if it's WebMD.
Yeah.
They just pronounce you dead.
My wife does that all the time. She's like, I think the kids are dying. I went on WebMD. I'm like, no, they're going to be here.
Yeah. I've fallen down that loop before. You look up one thing and it's like symptoms, then you read it and you're like, well, I'm going to die tomorrow. Like, what is this? And then you're like, wait, take a second. It's just Google. It's just WebMD. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And 9 Drinks says, Joik in quarantine after the island visit. I don't know what the story is with Joik. So, I don't know. Jenna says, it's okay to be sick. It's okay not to be sick with COVID. You're allowed to be normal sick. And like, do people get normal sick anymore? Like that's because I'm normal sick right now, and I don't get sick a lot for whatever reason. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's good genetics. I don't know if it's because I drink a lot of bourbon. Like I don't know what the protocol. I guess protocol shouldn't be the word I use. I don't know what the reasoning or the rationale is behind that. But I very rarely get sick. And so my wife's like, do you have COVID? Do you have COVID? Do you have COVID? It's like that right now. I'm like, no, it's just a head cold. Got to blow my nose every now and then, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Do people get sick? Do you get normal sick? Have you been normal sick, Sawyer, in the COVID era?
I've gotten COVID in the COVID era, but I haven't been like normal sick per se. But I mean, it's coming. I've had some friends who've gotten normal sick and not had COVID, but
I've gotten COVID in the COVID era.
We didn't skate through. We almost made it.
You almost made it?
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Sam? Have you gotten normal sick lately?
Not really, but I've kind of been one of those people, and knock on wood, I don't think there's any wood in the fishbowl. I don't get sick very often, so I'm just going to say that. Hopefully it doesn't backfire on me and I didn't jinx myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see, what else was it, too? Adam Morency says, yep, as an allergy sufferer, when the drainage hits the vocal cords and the voice box. And I get this, too, when I walk outside and I stare at the sun, like right away. And my oldest son has the exact same thing. It's almost like Tiger Woods and Charlie Woods-esque when they're standing on the green. Like, I'll walk outside and I look up into the sun, and then I feel like my sinuses in the back of my throat kind of tingle, and then I sneeze like 6 times in a row. And then we go on about our day. And my oldest son does it, but the rest of them don't. It's weird, man. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I was thinking about that today when I'm driving in. Like, are we allowed to be sick anymore?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like, because I had like a little sniffle this morning when I got in. But like, it's wintertime. Everybody comes in with a little runny nose because it's cold.
Yeah.
Like, but then like people are gonna think I'm dying in here. Like, gonna give you COVID or something. But like, oh, I'm good.
9 Drink says, my wife got a sinus infection, and everyone said COVID. My wife this morning said I had COVID. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm literally fine. I did the rapid test. I did the rapid test 2 days ago, kind of like when this onset. And I know we're not getting into that. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be a doctor. I am literally fine, except for some sinus drainage, and that's it. Literally fine. There's no temperature. Can smell and taste everything. Everything's cool, everyone. Went to Planet Fitness yesterday and got it in, and everything was cool. So we're fine. I just feel like I have to announce that. Do you guys roll like that too, where you feel like you have to announce, yes, I'm sick, everyone, non-COVID? Non-COVID. I do. I feel like I need a T-shirt or I need it tattooed on my forehead or something like that.
Yeah, or like the "Hello, my name is" sticker.
Yeah.
Like, "Hello, I'm
Not
Neil Rule,
positive.
I'm not sick." Yeah, not positive.
No, I can be sick. I don't have COVID. So I don't know. Mark Ross. Hello, Mark. I haven't read one of your comments before. Recently had a bad case of bronchitis and a sinus infection. People went COVID crazy on me. LOL. Got tested negative. Still sucked. And yeah, that's where it is. Dom Rivera, big win by the Pistons. Sadiq Bey. And yeah, we'll touch on the Piston stuff yesterday. It's really, they've won 2 in a row. They're not the worst in the NBA anymore. And we saw this to some degree with that team last year, where they had stretches where they played well. And wow, it's really, when Sadiq Bey plays well with Cade Cunningham, they're a better team. It's crazy, huh? And while the start pretty much crushed their ability to compete for, and I know like the popular buzzword was play-in spot and all that kind of stuff. I know that the start kind of crushed those dreams and those aspirations, but at the same time, all I was looking for this year is growth, people. It's kind of the same thing. The 2023, and that might be a little ambitious for the Pistons, but the NBA is not built the same way the NFL is. So, as far as that goes, that's that's where it will be with the Pistons. But we'll talk about that later. AC Neil, what are your thoughts on the lunk alarm? Well, I don't drop my weights, and I grunt a little bit, I guess, on arm day. I'm really tricep intensive. I do the beach muscle thing. Yeah. Just beach muscles. That's it. I don't really drop my weights on the floor, nor do I wear those little string tank tops.
Oh, that's like a signature powerhouse look.
Yeah, or like a Venice Beach outdoor gym.
Yeah. A gym you got to try out to get into,
That is more like a powerhouse look. So, it's one of those things. D. Smitty, get one of those wrist messages that says COVID negative now. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's what it should be. But for me, it's I almost feel like a duty to everyone to announce that I'm not COVID positive. It's just a head cold, and we move on. But it is like Sawyer said. It's January. It's Michigan. It's the first time it's gotten like this week. Believe it or not, was the first time where I walked outside and I was like, damn. Like just as far as the cold goes, like when it's in the teens and everything like that. And it's cool as long as it's not windy outside. Like yesterday morning was like 13 degrees or whatever, but the wind wasn't blowing, and I could deal with it. But the second that wind blows, I hate it.
Awful.
And I hate it more and more the older I get.
Just pulling you down to Florida.
It is, man. And a couple years ago, I got a job offer in Miami that I wanted to take really, really bad. But my wife is a teacher. So those of you who don't know, my wife is a public school teacher, and she's like, she was a little more responsible academically than me. At least my first time around. I had some struggles the first time I went to college. I'm the only one in the world that's honest about this stuff, by the way. And I had some struggles the first time around, so it took me a little longer than it took her to get through college. I sucked it up and got through it. But she was responsible, got a job right away, like right out of college, got in, bought 5 years, like you prepay your retirement or whatever. You're up Fenton, Union Way. You understand how that stuff works.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So she bought 5 years, but the problem is, like, being a public school teacher, once you're in, like, you're in. Like, she can't just go to Florida and those years apply and stuff like that. So the timing wasn't right. And I've never had my soul more crushed than when I told them, no, I can't take that job, Sawyer.
Oh, yeah. Because you'd just be living in Margaritaville all the time, essentially.
I was absolutely crushed. Miami, Lauderdale, man, it would have been the setup, dude. But, oh, my God, it was great. God, I wanted to do that. Ryan Zarzecki, Lions second pick, baby. Absolutely. If you check the social media, we talked about that yesterday on the show. Remember, too, and look, we got a bonus here. We got DMAC's clock on Sunday, everybody. Remember when we started this back in September and it seemed so far off? But look at us now, man. To quote Scarface, look at you now, man.
Oh, yeah.
We're in there. On Sunday, we'll be halfway through.
Crazy.
It's slow, but it's quick. It's a lot like baseball. It moves slow, but it happens quick. So we'll discuss. I do want to get into this Ben Roethlisberger discussion when we come back, because he's great. He's a great player. I never cared to watch him. But the more I thought about it, Now, I kind of slept on his greatness a little bit. But, hey, if you had the Steelers last night on mybookie.ag, you walked away happy. I know that. And you can walk away happy if you sign up today. Use the promo code Woodward. They will double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000, everybody. So, hey, if you wanted to get in on the action, if you want to get down, NFL playoffs right around the corner, the Super Bowl's coming up, the College Football National Championship game's coming up next Monday. I got a little auxiliary topic on that. Are people going to watch that? But if you are, go to mybookie.ag and get down on it, because I know if you throw $20 on it, you will certainly be watching that. Mybookie.ag. And look, we can talk about the financial things. A lot of places are doing deposit bonuses and things like that. But if you guys have done this at all, if you've used the phone apps and things like that, let me tell you, mybookie.ag, just from a technical perspective, very clean interface on there. You don't have to struggle to see. Everything's well laid out. Everything runs quick. Everything processes smoothly. And that's the biggest thing, as you guys are probably coming to know right now. So if you haven't, if you've been waiting on the sidelines, jump in with mybookie.ag. If you use the promo code Woodward, they will double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. So get on board for the NFL playoffs into the Super Bowl. March Madness is just around the corner, guys. Get the head start. Get that bonus money in your account and have some fun, man. Have some fun with it. Bet on these sports. You're going to be watching them anyway, so get down on it. MyBookie.ag, promo code Woodward, double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Have a gambling problem? Get your life in order. Call the Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule, flying solo here today, but I'm not solo because I got the crew up in here. I got Sam in the sound booth. I got Sawyer in the production booth. They're getting it in, having a good time, and we're all having a good time. So, you know, for me, it's one of those things where I feel like I have to announce it to everybody. I have a head cold. We're non-COVID. We press on. But I do have to get a T-shirt or something about that. Skipper Sone says, what was the job? A production company wanted to hire me to do soccer year-round, a 10-month contract, a rolling 10-month contract. So they wanted me to do USL games, some MLS games, select international games as too, some Serie A, English language Serie A, English language La Liga. You can probably put the pieces of the puzzle back together and figure out what network it was. But yeah, I wanted to take it, guys. I was going to bounce, man. It hurt my soul to not answer that. Klomp Sauce, are we mathematically eliminated for the first overall? We are not. We are not mathematically eliminated. The dream still lives. And while I said that even with some sinus congestion, I can still breathe in the sound of the NFL draft sounder. One more time. Oh, yeah. That clears the nasal passages. There is no doubt about it. So, you know, we need Sawyer's squad to play ball, though. What do you think? Be honest with me. Now, I read a stat. The Colts haven't lost in Jacksonville since haven't won in Jacksonville since like 2014.
I saw that too. Tommy from St. Clair sent that yesterday. I was like, oh, geez. That did not make me feel good, but I think we got it. Jonathan Taylor's too good.
No, but can you do it, though? Can you guys lose? You can lose because you got Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that is a very good point, but I think we can do it.
I'm calling it today. He's the AFC Kirk Cousins.
Ooh.
He can beat anybody.
But he can lose to anybody.
He can lose to anybody.
Yeah.
Didn't they win a game where he threw for like 40 yards earlier this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Jonathan Taylor just had like 200 yards or something. Just put the team right on his back and carried him down the field.
Should I get excited? Because I had already written it off, Sawyer. And the people seem to be getting excited. Should I allow myself? Should I reverse course and say, hey, Lions, the job's not finished? I had just written it off because I assume there's no way the Colts can lose to the Jags.
Yeah, I mean, I thought so too, but I mean, after looking at the stat, I mean, it's scary, but I think the Colts will still get it done. You got to trust the process. I mean, they're a good team. You know, they got all the pieces. Frank Reich will hopefully keep Carson Wentz in check. So they'll be there, you know. We just got to pray. You know, we just got to trust Carson Wentz.
Are you guys winning in? And forgive me, I'm not exactly 100% up on it. I guess I can take a look myself real quick, but you know,
I believe we are winning in, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you guys are sitting on the 6th seed right now. So if you win, you're certainly in. Mm-hmm. It's not clinched yet, obviously, because the Steelers, you know, if the Steelers won, so that's a scenario right now. Essentially, the Chargers are playing the Raiders for one of the spots. That's a de facto playoff game. If the Colts win, they're in. If they lose and the Steelers win, then the Steelers are in.
Yep.
So that's the scenarios right now.
Okay.
Should I allow myself to get excited?
I don't know. I mean, definitely watch the game or keep an eye on it, you know, flip back and forth between the Lions game and the Colts game.
Yeah.
It's good television.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. David Mentier says, let's go, Neil. Colts are not losing to Jacksonville. All right, David, hey, I'll side with you on this one, all right? I won't reverse course. I'll jump back in. And, yes, I'm on board. Let's beat the Pack this weekend. Let's do it.
Did you watch the Manning cast last night? Cause
I did not. I forgot it was on. And see, that's, you know what? For as good as that is, and as much as people enjoy that, you can't take weeks off.
Yeah.
Because then I forget it's on.
Exactly.
Was it any good?
It was all right. I was just going to say, because they had Rodgers on in the fourth quarter, and he was saying, he was making it seem like he was still going to play against Detroit. So, and then they were grilling him about quarterbacks not playing or whatever, and he's like, I want to play. So, who knows if he was just making that up because he was on national television or what, but could be interesting next week.
Yeah, I bet he wants. Well, they get a bye too, right? So he is going to play. I would assume at least a half.
Yeah,
because you want to keep sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would. Why wouldn't he play? You're going to be off for 3 weeks? I don't think so.
Yeah, don't want to pull in Michigan.
Yeah. Even though Georgia was technically off longer than Michigan was because they played at 4 o'clock, Michigan played at 8.
Yeah, we just ignore that though.
They got 4 more hours of rest than Michigan. You know, they were off 4 hours longer than Michigan was. But no, I did want to talk about this. Did want to talk about this whole situation yesterday with Ben Roethlisberger, and he got the win, and it was not. He set an NFL. Speaking of NFL records, he set an NFL record. He was 24 of 46 for 123 yards, and that was the NFL record for least passing yards on 24 completions. So it's not like he was spinning it deep. He threw it deep a couple times, but his receiver core is less than. But that's not the moral of the story. And oh, by the way, too, Najee Harris is a monster. That cat is built different. But through all that, I did want to talk about this because Ben Roethlisberger is great. He's great. And he's going to go to the Hall of Fame, first ballot. There's no doubt about it. And ESPN kept putting up some of the stats where he sits in the all-time rankings, and he is in that elite discussion. And we got to talking around here in the studio where we talked, you know, Sam and Sawyer and I and a couple of the other cats here at Woodward. We just start kicking it around and everything. And I said, for Ben Roethlisberger, I did watch last night because I did want to see him out of respect for his career and what he's done. He was never must-watch television for me. I never said, hey, Ben Roethlisberger's playing. I got to watch. I got to see what he's going to do. And it's weird. Do you guys ever have any players like that where they're great, but they never move the needle for you? That's Ben Roethlisberger. LaDainian Tomlinson was like that for me, too, and I know that's going to sound blasphemous. But LaDainian Tomlinson was really the product of a lot of one-yard touchdown runs to me. But still, I digress. We're not getting in that discussion right now. But for Ben Roethlisberger, he never really moved the needle, but he was great. And he won 2 Super Bowls. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, too, with that win yesterday, clinched another non-losing season 15 years in a row. They haven't had a losing season in 15 years. And all those numbers are crazy to me. They're crazy to me. But for me, I watched out of respect to his legacy, but he just never did anything for me. But here's where I am with it. And I started digging around and just taking a look, just a 30,000-foot look. You know what? For me, and I put it all back together. I pieced it all back together. Him and Drew Brees, because we started talking about like the elite quarterbacks of this era. And Sam, what did you say? You said you have Tom Brady, obviously you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger's in that group.
He's in that group. I'd say he's a little bit below like a Rodgers or a Manning, another one,
right,
and Brady. And I think he's below Brees, but I know you disagree.
No, and that's where it was. And initially, when you said that, I thought, yeah, that's the case. But then I start digging the numbers, and more than the numbers, because Brees played 30 more games than Ben Roethlisberger has, and Brees around 80,000 yards. Roethlisberger's around 64,000 yards. He would get in that stratosphere if he played as many games, I'm sure, especially in his prime, because he looks like it's over. But with that being said, I never got the feeling from Ben Roethlisberger in big-time games, in division games, stuff that was going to decide stuff. I never got the feeling where he was going to lose those games, to where Drew Brees routinely lost those games. How many playoff games did the Saints have lined up at home where they were an 8-point favorite or a 10-point favorite or a 7-point favorite, and they would lose them constantly? Minnesota, the Rams, just go back through the lineage. I never was worried that Ben Roethlisberger was going to lose a big game. Never. And I maybe I'm missing something or something like that. I don't know. Our guy Easy. I feel the same way about LT. Big Ben in his prime was fun to watch, though. And it was crazy because Roethlisberger was one of those kind of guys where he'd have 50 yards passing in the first quarter and then finish the game up with 475 and 5 touchdowns and all that kind of crazy stuff. Like the games just kept going. Crazy Clown says, I always hated watching Jay Cutler. So, it's he's a little bit better than Jay Cutler. I'll say that. What else you got, Sam?
I was about to say, Jay Cutler is not even in the same stratosphere as Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
We're talking about great players that you don't like to watch, not like, guys with a good arm who don't really care about football like Jay Cutler.
Yeah, CJ says, I was always grossed out watching Big Ben. And, the off-the-field stuff might have something to do with that for some kind of people. You guys know where I stand with that. I kind of separate the two. So I'm just curious to know the guys that were great. And I've told this story on the air before. I was that way with Larry Bird. I was a little kid, obviously, big-time Pistons fan. But I hated Larry Bird, and I hated the Celtics to the point where they were on TV, I'd turn it off, man. Like I would turn it off, and I didn't get that. I didn't hate Ben Roethlisberger. I was just indifferent, and he was better than Drew Brees. To me, he was. Based on what I talked about, the stats are somewhat comparable, and I never got the feeling Roethlisberger was going to lose a big game, and Drew Brees lost him repeatedly. Your thoughts, Sam?
Drew Brees is absolutely better than Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I think when you think of football, it's a team game. Ben Roethlisberger always had better defenses, better running games, and he did lose a lot.
The Saints had a great defense the last 5 years.
The last 5 years, he's come up short in a lot of playoff games. Like last year, for example, he was terrible against the Bucs. But in his prime, he did win a Super Bowl. He had other playoff games that he won and a lot of great regular seasons. And his stats, his efficiency, his completion percentage, his counting, like yards, touchdowns, are just so far above Ben Roethlisberger that and I don't agree, but I'll grant you the premise that Ben Roethlisberger won more big games and played better in the playoffs. If it were a tie.
It's not even that he won more big games, it's that he lost less. I have more confidence in Ben Roethlisberger out on the field.
Yeah, but he only won 2 Super Bowls. He lost a lot of playoff games, too.
Well, Brees only won 1.
That's true.
And Manning gift-wrapped it.
And Ben Roethlisberger got carried by his defense in the 2005 Super Bowl.
Oh, here we go. Here we go with that debate. Well, he flat out won that one against the Cardinals.
Absolutely.
And he went up against Kurt Warner, one of the great quarterbacks of all time that for some reason gets shortchanged all the time.
Yeah, that was phenomenal by Ben Roethlisberger. I can't dispute that. I'm not trying to dispute him or like tear him down.
I'm not trying to tear the guy down either. I'm just saying like that's how quickly the tide can turn. And I just wasn't a big Ben Roethlisberger guy, but he was great. You know what though? Here's the deal with Ben Roethlisberger. He does have that kind of build, and I can speak on this because I used to be this size. He's got that kind of build where the day he retires, the next day he's going to wake up and be 300 pounds. Like he's got that kind of build. You know what I'm saying? He's got to be vigilant of that. So, just for me, but I know what Ben Roethlisberger. I bet he would be a hell of a player at Foaling.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking that. So as soon as Big Ben retires, he's got to come up here to Hamtramck and go to the Foaling Warehouse, the home and creation of Foaling. It's one of the best games to play out there. We did our holiday party there. It was a great time. Everybody came out just sniping pens. They got 2 full bars with mystery beer machines. You put $2 in, you get a mystery beer out. I've rolled the dice twice. Got myself a PBR and an Old Milwaukee. Braylon Edwards got himself a Colt 45. So they got a lot of stuff in there. It's hitters every single time you do it. So it's basically just the best investment you can make with $2 if you're out on a Saturday night trying to full. You can bring food in. You can have food ordered. Joik likes to Uber Eats a lot of food, so that would work there as well. You can do family gatherings, corporate events, just go out with friends. You can show up, pay $10, play for as long as you want, or you can do a group deal with up to 10 people, and then you guys can just have a big old party. And it's just a great time. So head over to Foaling Warehouse or go to the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. This is the Neil Energy Show. Just himself on the desk today. Me and Sam are in the booths chopping it up. And we'll be right back here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
And a miraculous catch.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Back at it. Big Neil Energy here on the Big D Energy Show. My name is Neil Rule. Happy to have you all with us. DMAC out on some business. He'll actually be out the rest of the week, but he will be joining us coming up a little bit later on in the second hour. I do want to talk about the Red Wings and that game against Boston because I was excited for that game, and I got nothing. They got cooked in that game, and I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. And I'll leave it at that, but DMAC and I will break that thing down coming up in the second hour. But I'm talking Ben Roethlisberger right now, and not necessarily, I'm not breaking down the game or anything like that. Although I do have to say this, and for those of you that watch Woodward Sports, the Morning Woodward Show, and our guy Adam Baydoun that's on there, I do have to take a couple minutes right now, and I have to look into this camera. And we all know that Adam is rough at times. There's no doubt. He believes strongly in his convictions, and I admire that about Adam. I have to look into this camera right now and apologize to Adam Baydoun for some of my actions because, for me, I was a Baker Mayfield supporter. I believed in Baker Mayfield. I thought they turned a corner last year when, speaking of Ben Roethlisberger, they went into Pittsburgh and they dominated the Steelers in a road playoff game. I thought that was a big moment. They were one stop away from beating the Chiefs in Kansas City. Andy Reid had to reach into his bag of tricks and came up with a beautiful play to get that first down and get out of there with the win. So I have to look into this camera and tell you Adam Baydoun of the Morning Woodward Show, live 8 to 10 every day on the Woodward Sports Network. I have to tell you that I apologize to you because you were at the forefront of the Baker Mayfield is not a good quarterback train, and I tried to fight it for so long. But you know what? After last week in Green Bay, after last night in Pittsburgh, with a season hanging in the balance, I have officially withdrawn my support, my public support of Baker Mayfield as a good quarterback, and I have to step over to your side because you're either in or you're out. And I was in up until last night. And Adam Baydoun, I apologize to you. You were right. I was wrong. And, that feels good for me to get out because it's something I thought about a lot over the course of last night. And that's just where it is right now, where for Adam Baydoun was right and I was wrong. And you know what, Sawyer? I feel good now.
Yeah.
I do. I feel good because he was out there yesterday, and it wasn't quite as bad as it was at Green Bay. He looks lost, man.
Yeah, I've been a Baker defender in the past too. And
did you hold out as long as me?
Yeah, I was trying this season. Last season got me pumped, just like the way he ended it, but this season it's just been so downhill. It's a bummer.
I mean, he is a turnover factory. Dante Culpepper looks at him and goes, hey, you turn the ball over too much. What do you got, Sam?
I'm so glad that you guys joined Adam and me on the Baker Mayfield sucks, train, because I've thought that since day one. He had a good year last year. He had some moments in his rookie year, but I've just never been a fan. I don't think he warranted being a number one pick. He has more commercials than he deserves. He shouldn't have any, honestly. He's a good actor, but he's not a good quarterback. He sucks.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed last night, too, there were so many drop balls by Browns receivers. Like, that could be some on Baker and some on the receivers, but they were wide open passes, just like 5 yards of grass all around the receiver and just boop, in and out the hands. It was just so tough.
I'll grant you that his receivers have not helped him out this year, but he'd also, one thing when he was coming out, everyone's like, oh, he's so accurate. He doesn't really throw a good accurate ball to them, and if it's a little bit behind sometimes, even the best receivers are not always going to catch it, and the Browns don't even have the best receivers anymore.
No, but I mean, just for me, just the turnover factory and the way he's played in games that their playoff lives were riding on these games, man. And he was empty. He doesn't even give the team a chance to win the way that he turned the football over. And just ineffective. And that's what it is, too. And especially coming off a road playoff win last season. I was riding high on Baker Mayfield. And Adam Baydoun, he held firm all season long. And I have to look at him and say, Adam, you were right. And I was wrong. So there's that. Clip that. Send that off to the Morning Woodward show. Yeah, Sawyer.
Did you see Robert Colosia's comment? Hello, my name is Neil, and I'm a Bakerholic.
No, it is, and I wonder about that. I have to look around here and see if there's like a Birmingham chapter of the Bakerholics Anonymous.
I'd go to a meeting with you.
I think it's important just to get it out there. You know what I'm saying? The first step in solving a problem is admitting that there's a problem. And not only have I done that, I've remedied it. And I'm clean now. I've been clean and sober of Baker Mayfield for about 16 hours.
Good.
Since he threw that first interception yesterday at Pittsburgh. I've been Baker free for the last 16 hours. So, hey, I am reaching out, though, and I'm bringing this public. And I guess there's a little bit of self-justification. I do it from a selfish perspective because I want to know about your experiences with Bakerism.
Mine?
No, I mean just in general. Like did you believe? And it's okay to come clean and say it because I think the story has been written. Tammy Chin says if you look at Ben's overall stats, he's Hall of Fame worthy. Rookie of the year in 04. 06 was the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl, on and on. Another Super Bowl. Yardage records that he has and where he stands in the pantheon of things. And Matt Carrier said, I think Roethlisberger is likely a top 10 quarterback, but not close to a Rodgers, Brady, or Breeze level. I think he is, man. And that's more like if you want to be, if you want to get acidic with the numbers and like do a deep dive on the numbers, maybe you could swing that argument in your favor based on numbers. But I do go the numbers, and I'm very analytic. But at the same time, there's something to be said for the fact that I always trusted Ben Roethlisberger implicitly in big games. And in the back of my head, Drew Brees, he choked away a lot of big games. A lot of big games, especially at home. Going back to it, Minnesota's and the Rams and things like that. I mean, there are games where they're 7, 8, 9, 10-point favorites in these games. And they never seem to get the job, especially coming down the stretch of his career. So, lucky for him, Manning threw that pick six in that Super Bowl when the Colts played the Saints, and that solidified it, and he got his Super Bowl. But, for me, it's just he never did it. He never was must-watch television for me. I never had to go watch Ben Roethlisberger play. And, I tuned in last night. I did, up until the Pistons were coming on the stretch, and I did shut that off. And then I said to myself, I looked and got an update that Baker Mayfield had failed yet again. I said, you know what, I'm going to bed. After the Pistons won, I'm going to bed. Adam Baydoun's right. And for as big of an announcement as I just made, it was really that quick in the process. Like, I was like, because I thought about it last week. I'm like, you know what, maybe Baker Mayfield's not good when he was playing Green Bay. And then I was like, yeah, he's not good. And that was it.
Yeah.
For all that time I spent defending him, it was really over that quick.
Freeing feeling.
Robert says, what about Phillip Rivers, worst playoff quarterback ever? Don't bag on LaDainian Tomlinson without taking out Rivers, Neil. And yeah, Rivers, his numbers are going to stack up too, like through the test of time, because we are in the passing era. And look, Robert, I know like you're a San Diego guy and you're big in San Diego Superchargers and all that stuff. I just felt like LaDainian Tomlinson had a lot of 1-yard touchdown runs, like an inordinate amount of 1-yard touchdown runs. To me, he was always kind of a creation. He was good. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't Barry. He wasn't Jim Brown. He wasn't even Gale Sayers before he got hurt. And look, I've said it every single time. Part of being available is part of being a great or a good football player. Don't get me wrong on that. I never felt like he was in that group. I'm sorry, guys. I know that's blasphemous to a lot of people to say that, but that's where I was with him. I just never felt that way about LaDainian Tomlinson. Tony Pasta, Troy Aikman was a game manager and tough. No, he was, and obviously one of the best surrounding cast that ever, one of the best through the core teams that we ever saw. And AC said the same thing. Did you ever watch Troy Aikman? Was he good? Yeah, Troy Aikman was good. But if you go back to Troy Aikman's numbers, they are just that. They're good. They're not going to jump off the page at you or anything like that. They're not something that you're going to go wow and just be amazed by what he did. So, with all that, that's where I was. I just wondered if you guys had players like that where, they were great, but you didn't go crazy about them. Pat Riley, Ben's a big-time first ballot Hall of Famer. 0 losing season, unlike Rodgers, and 2 rings, more than Rodgers. And look, you see what I'm saying, though, Sam? Like, I don't think the gap's as big as you think it is with Roethlisberger.
Well, but between Roethlisberger and Rodgers even, that's come on, that's blasphemy. I know we weren't talking about that, but that guy just brought it up.
And Rodgers 5-3 at Lambeau in the playoffs.
Again, it's not always about like him. Like last year, for example, Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions in the second half.
Go ahead and fit that narrative, my friend.
Rodgers is better than Roethlisberger. Come on. That's just...
But when you start putting those numbers up, and my guy Pat Riley, Packers have 12 rings without Rodgers and 1 with him.
Well, we can't count like all the ones from the 60s when it was just the NFL. They had they had that dynasty.
The Lions had 4 of 5 or 4 of 6 back in that time.
Yeah. So, exactly.
Tribe, Roethlisberger, the Hall of Fame. But, yeah, let's build a statue for Joe Paterno, too. Easy with that stuff, guy. So, yeah, it's for me, it's what it was. It's easy. Said Tom Brady's great, but never jumped off the screen to me. Easy. Yeah, easy. You're hurting yourself right there, man. You're hurting yourself. Let me tell you what won't hurt me, though. If I'm at home, it's a Saturday night or whatever, and I have it. Like, look, we have it right here. The bottle you see on the screen right there, but bigger than that. And so I don't know if you can pull it up on command. Let me go through the. I'll show you guys a situation I ran into at the grocery store on New Year's Eve. And the reason that I ran into that situation is because they did 50 different formulas, countless taste testing to make everybody believe, me included. Gypsy Vodka, one of the best tasting, smoothest vodkas on the market. This is what happened at my local grocery store New Year's Eve. They were all gone. Everything around it was stocked. The Gypsy Vodka was down to 1 bottle until it was 0 bottles after I grabbed that bottle and put it in my cart. We got to tell them the next time the owners of Gypsy Vodka are through, they got to holler at their boy here.
Oh, yeah, they got to hook you up.
Yeah, I mean, hey. I support the product, man, because that's the thing. When I come on here, man, I'm telling you guys about these products. I drink Gypsy Vodka with the ice cubes, a hit, another hit, some limes, and away I go on a Saturday evening. I love it. It's just good vodka. And look, the bottle's cool, right? Like, everybody loves the bottles. That's a big thing now in alcohol. Like, everybody loves the bottles and stuff like that. And I don't begrudge those people. That's fine. It's gluten-free. It's made here in Petoskey, Michigan as well. Support local guys from the state of Michigan. Drink Gypsy Vodka. It's just good. I got nothing else for you guys. When I drink it, I like it. That's it. Try a bottle today. Ask for it by name. It's Gypsy Vodka. Make sure you drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have you all along with us. Tony Pasta on our YouTube chat there. Remember, jump in if you want to get your thoughts out there. I'll be reading those. I'm rolling solo today, but it's all good, man. We've done this in past radio lives before. I know everybody's like, what are you going to do being on the air solo? Did it for 4 hours at ESPN Radio before. It's not that hard to, especially when I got the squad here. And you guys, man, you guys are always jumping in. Also, Tony Pasta, what will the Lions do without Sewell and Decker? There's still a possibility they play. They're in the COVID protocol right now. My understanding is that they are, they're both vaccinated. So there is a 5-day rule where if they did test positive, if they get a couple negative tests up until game time, they can tap in and be in the game. Certainly it's a home game as well. So, it's one of those things. Yeah, they're going to have their work cut out for them. There's no doubt about it. Mike G says, easy, the Sun Bowl effect has your vision blurred. Don't be coming in here and saying Tom Brady doesn't do anything for you, man. That's all. That's absolutely Tammy Chen, easy. Back away from the keyboard. I'm not a Brady fan, but you have to be impressed with all the rings on both hands. Easy, don't do this to yourself right now, man. Delete that comment. Can they do that? They can delete a comment, right?
Yeah.
Easy. My advice to you, go back through there and delete that one. You're damaging your brand right now, my friend. Don't do that to yourself.
He just threw another comment in there. I respect it, but I'm talking skill-wise, talent, making some of the craziest plays. Brady hasn't always or consistently been that.
What's wrong with that man?
I don't know.
You think he's okay, Sam?
Yeah, I actually am going to defend Easy on this one. He's talking about his style of play, the fact that he kind of a lot of times just stands back there in a clean pocket, throws a check down. I mean, he's a smart player, makes all the right reads, but he's talking about like style of play, fun to watch. I know what Easy means. I know what you mean, Easy.
I don't know. I mean, that 28-3 comeback in the Super Bowl was pretty fun to watch.
No, it was a little entertaining, I guess.
It was entertaining, but the Falcons also crapped the bed and gave them every single opportunity. Like they didn't run the ball. Matt Ryan got strip sacked. I mean, when they had it up 28-20, passing, get a holding call. I mean, it was laid out on a silver platter. I'm not saying what Brady...
It was laid out on a silver... It was 28-3, Sam.
No,
Sam,
I get that.
You're hurting your brand right now, brother.
Say it. He's just not a very exciting player to watch.
Sam, I don't want to see you do this. Don't go down the easy road. Guys, come on. Don't do this to yourselves. All right? No, but the Lions hosting Green Bay this weekend. I did want to get into the discussion, too, because... And you guys know, I've championed Amon-ra St. Brown. And he's going in record books with games with more than 8 receptions for a rookie. I mean, what he's done has been a revelation. And I know that Dan Campbell talked about him. And I do want to play this sound because I know what Dan's trying to do here and temper some things. But he's been a revelation, man. Sawyer, spin that sound, Dan Campbell, on Amon-ra St. Brown. My guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's been steady for us. He's a steady, reliable player, and it's one thing to do it once, and you feel a little bit better after twice. But now when you start stacking them like he is, that's a consistent player. That's a productive, consistent player, and those guys I think are hard to find. So I'm glad we got him, and as long as he just keeps trending the way he is, he'll be just fine.
And I know, you hear him, just trying to be cool about it, trying to be humble about it. But am I getting too excited about Amon-ra St. Brown, man? And I know that there's a lot of factors that go into it, right? And for me, it's just the fact that he's a 4th-round draft pick. It's $900,000 a year for the next 3 years. he looks like you can lock him in and he can be a weapon for you. And I know I went on this diatribe a little bit last week, and we put it out on social media, and people agreed with it. But that's the guy. Like, that's the face of all this to me right now. It's just the fact that you have an impact player finally. He's your Cooper Kupp. He's the Lions' Cooper Kupp right now. And go over the last 4 weeks. The numbers are comparable, man. They are. And what was the big thing that everybody said when Brad Holmes got here? When the Lions made the trade with the Rams, and Brad Holmes obviously coming from the Rams. Well, let's see if he can go get the Cooper Kupps of the world. He may have done it, man. In his first swing, he may have done it. So that's where it is. And I took some heat yesterday on social media from people, saying I'm drinking Lions Kool-Aid and all that kind of stuff. Guys, both things can be true. You guys know I've been driving the tank all season long, man. Like, I want the tank to pull up on the number 1 overall pick, which, unless Sawyer's Colts help us out a little bit, doesn't look like it's going to get home. But still, number 2, I'll take the number 2, and we'll move on because this guy's making the picks, everybody. Easy is taking some heat right now on our YouTube chat thread. I mean, straight
It's not fun.
heat. CJ, Montana played against Favre for like 2 years. Let me see. Hold on. Where was it? AC says, talk about soccer. No. Mike G says, easy. Let's hate on Joe Montana next. Ready? Go. Jeff, Neil, is the MVP both in Green Bay this year? The answer is yes. So, yeah, and yeah, Rodgers probably would be the MVP this year. I don't dispute that. He's great. He is great, but Ben Roethlisberger's great too. And I didn't want to admit that. And I never admitted that throughout his whole career. And Roethlisberger may have held on a year too long. And that's why people that got upset with Barry Sanders, that's why I could never relate to it. Because I'd rather guys step away when they're at the top than just kind of stumble home and be like Joe Namath on the Rams and Emmitt Smith Emmitt Smith was a bad one in my mind. And look, I'll admit, like, there's full prejudice in that statement for me because I was an Emmitt Smith hater, because Barry Sanders is the best running back to ever play the game of football, according to most people anyway. And I judge it based on this. When you handed him the football, he was the hardest to tackle. The numbers bear that out. He was the greatest. And Emmitt Smith with the Cardinals, how embarrassing was that? Because it was very embarrassing to me for Emmitt Smith. And they were great, and they were a great organization. And I will flip it on its side and say, as far as Emmitt Smith went, people talked about, his offensive line versus Barry's offensive. Barry's offensive line was very, very good too. Lomas Brown, Kevin Glover. There were some big-time offensive linemen for Barry Sanders too. Don't get that twisted. But, it's CJ. Miguel Cabrera's bad. Easy, probably. Nick Lidstrom is boring. Easy, probably. So here we go. It's getting full-on Jalen Green status right now. Steven Anderson, Adrian Peterson's going out with barely a sputter. And that's my point. Like, these cats, man, they hang on for too long, and they come out there, and it's just, God, Emmitt Smith did the same thing. C. Perry says, nah, bro, Jim Brown. Hey, I will listen to the Jim Brown thing because there are people out there that do the Jim Brown, namely Barry Sanders' dad is one of them. So if you're Barry Sanders' dad and you want to say that, you dig Jim Brown and you think he's the best ever, I'm cool with it. So, Mike G says, spot on. For the mere fact that he has Super Bowls in 2 different organizations speaks volumes. And that is something, too. So, for me, that's where I am. Matt Carrier, Barry is by far the best NFL running back. He left too early. Well, I mean, that's up to him, though. Like, that's up to Barry Sanders when he wants to leave. And so I didn't have a really big problem with the timing of Barry Sanders leaving or anything like that. Just to me, it wasn't bad, man. It wasn't. And, hey, that's where I was with that. But Ben Roethlisberger, for me, was great. I should have watched him more. I guess that's the bottom line. But we spun all this into the Dan Campbell sound, talking about Amon-ra St. Brown. And he's been a revelation, man. he has, and these numbers have been historic that he's been putting up. And I honestly believe, and both things can be true. I've been driving the tank all season long. You know where I'm at with it. We're almost halfway home. After Sunday, we'll be halfway home to 2023, and everything is fine as far as I'm concerned. There it is. The DMAC clock is up there. I said this on Twitter yesterday. This is the year you get the draft pick. They won't be drafting this high again next year. I'm not saying get your playoff tickets or anything like that. They won't be drafting this high next year. This is the year you get the draft pick. The next year is where you have to kind of grin and bear it as far as the salary cap thing goes, because their cap situation with some of the guys on there, the Trey Flowers of the world, what do you want to do with Jared Goff? What do you want to do with Jeff Okudah, et cetera? Jerry Foster and I talked about this on Monday. You're going to have to make some cuts, man. In order to make those cuts, your salary cap's going to be the casualty. And namely, your 2022 salary cap is going to be the casualty of it. So ride with me this year on the draft picks. Ride with me next year on the cap space. Don't be shocked when they sit out free agency. And I know that with fantasy football and the fantasy footballization of NFL and us as NFL fans, I know that's where it's at. But through all that, just ride with me these 2 years, man. Namely, I'll give you Amon-ra St. Brown, and I'll give you Penei Sewell. I think it's safe to say those are two impact guys on this roster. And we'll see with Aleem McNeil and Derek Barnes. And Dan Campbell did come out and say that he was disappointed in the effort of Derek Barnes. He did take a step back last week. We're talking about third and fourth round picks, guys. Like, that's what we're talking about here. So keep that stuff in mind when you talk about the Detroit Lions and talk about what they're going to do going forward. Hey, Detroit Lions coverage, Woodward Sports has you covered. Pre-game, post-game, whatever your flavor is. And we'll be back at the Tin Roof this Sunday for the final time as the Lions host the Green Bay Packers. Brought to you by Woodward Sports and Jose Cuervo. Braylon Edwards, Reiner Monty, Maz, Jade from WRIF. They will host the show on Woodward Sports and 101.1 WRIF. We did it on Sunday, as a matter of fact. Myself and DMAC were out there with Jade from WRIF. A good time had by all. Then, you roll out. You go over to Ford Field. You watch Lions-Packers. You come back out. You pull up on the brass rail in downtown Detroit. Stick and Anson will start broadcasting. At the 2-minute warning, they'll get all the interaction, all the fan reaction as well. There'll be DJs, drinks, a Woodward Sports VIP section, food, and more. Make sure you stop by after every Lions home game at the brass rail. That's brought to you by Woodward Sports and Jim Beam. We'll be back with more Big Neil Energy here on Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Oh, look at this guy!
Happy New Year! What up?
DMAC
Big D
has been away handling some business interest, as we said, and he was rolling. He was pulling up. You were going to do the hockey segment anyway. Huh?
I was going to pull up on you at 12:30 anyways, but sounds like a lack of communication or whatever. There's never a doubt whether this ship will roll, especially if you got Big Sam in the, handling the sound. You got Sawyer in there just plugging the way. I mean, you were out. Listen, I thought maybe I was watching Apocalypse Now and you're going down the old Dekong River and whatever in those big boats with the music blaring back in the day. I mean, you guys were doing good, but I thought I'd come in and wish everybody a Happy New Year. And, I mean, I guess we're at it. 2022's here.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We are going to talk Red Wings coming up about 24 minutes past the hour. I wasn't mad, DMAC. I was disappointed, but we'll get into that. It was a big game. That was the first big game in a long time, DMAC. Hold on, we'll get to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can what do I always say, Neil? I will explain to you the why, what we're watching, but it's pretty much the bottom line is the movie's consistent. The movie is utterly consistent. You're waiting for something to change, and it's not going to change because you have to still remember, and we'll get into it. But it's still the precipice of this turnaround for the Red Wing organization. So they're still finding their way. And this is the dog days of the year that the young guys, the rookies, the 19, 20-year-olds that are going through this for the first time, that with the fans, with everything else, with the COVID, everything. So they're going to be fine in the long run. It just sucks now.
We're talking Detroit Lions here right now. We got some comments to get to. Jeff says, Neil, since the emergence of this offensive line, does maybe dealing DeAndre Swift make more sense, having running back by committee the way to go? And Jeff, I would say no, because you have him on the cheap right now with DeAndre Swift, and that's the thing. It's all money related. Because remember this, as I've been saying, this whole salary cap situation is going to be bloody next year, because I know what everybody wants. They want a pound of flesh. They want the scissors to come out and say, you need to cut it. And there's going to be some casualties, but you got to be able to pay for those casualties.
Here's the one thing, Neil, right? We're talking about wings and stuff like this, where the comparison to what's available down the road and where your salary cap is, because sometimes eating that price, and I think that you were trying to explain it you were trying to explain it on Sunday, and I think you and Adam, and by the way, shout out to O'Toole's and everybody for that. But if you Adam's got, for all the Lions fans out there, if you did not see it at the end of the program, he's got a great Happy New Year to all his Lions fans as the end of that Stafford game was going on. So it was good to see, but. The whole point with draft capital, the whole point against the salary cap. So, for example, next year, Trey Flowers, his cap hit, if he stays, is $19 million. If you get rid of him, it's $13 million. Can you fix with $6 million that spreads that, get a player in? There's so much going on for Brad Holmes and Steve Yzerman. I think at the end of the day, where everything is you're going to get to the point where it's don't do anything too rash. You sort of have to wait, and then it's like spending all your gold at sort of one time and using the assets properly. So hopefully that's what they're going to do. And there's going to be some unpopular, probably roster sizes, but again, I'll be looking to you to go, well, this makes sense because here's the contract, here's what it avails us.
Right, and for me, as far as DeAndre Swift goes, that's an absolute non-negotiable. You have DeAndre Swift for the next 2 years at $3 million total. That's an asset. Now, granted, that carries value, but you never seem to get value in an NFL trade. Usually, you're just getting rid of guys.
Right, and usually when it comes, right, it's usually a money thing and whatever like that. You don't usually see it's somebody giving an opportunity, right? Fifth rounder for a receiver that you think could play, and then he can't, but then it's an easy sell. Because a lot of times these are $1, $2, $3 million guys that you can get off the books. Now, that's not cheap, but in the whole scheme of things, it's cheaper than having a guy signed.
And you're rid of it, too, because...
And it's done, right? So explain to everybody, Neil, that the biggest thing, too, is you don't have the residual owing somebody something. It's
done.
Just one of these,
you're done. Good. You pay the price that year. And again, that's where it goes back to it. For everybody that's thinking, we got Amon-ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell, those are a couple rookies there. There'll be another draft coming up. We'll sprinkle some stuff in free agency. Just kind of back away from that, because I think next year... You ever clean out your closet and just do a purge? Granted, what's the cost of that purge? The time that day. Now, you do that going forward for the next day when you go into your closet and you can find something a little easier, and that's when you reap those benefits. But that day, it sucks.
Yeah, like this last weekend, getting this garage. That's why, pretty much, I'm honest with everybody, is I'm sick and tired of almost having this garage cleaned out, right? Because we got to move, but I'm living it right now. So, yes, I see the draft capital in the garage finally after 3 days.
Right, but see, there you go. But those days, it sucked.
Oh, embrace the suck, guys. Like, that's all life is. What do you always say, Neil? That clock still ticks, because once the clock stops, you're out of the game anyways, right? So It's always going to click. This too shall pass, and like I always say, is just embrace the suck. If you can embrace the suck in life, you're way ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to look at any kind of casualty in the Lions' backfield, I would guess it would be Jamal Williams before it would be anybody else. He's on the last year of his deal, $1.6 million. Would be a cap hit, but at that price,
again,
you just keep him. You just keep him.
Right,
at that
but again,
price.
a guy like that with the old swag that he brings, and his energy in the locker room, that at 1.6, those are the guys that you want.
100%.
To me, it's the Williams, it's the Cabindas, it's the guys, the energies that you can see. Always look for guys that sort of do the meat and potatoes work, but then they get some shine. You look at Decker the other day. I love that because that's locker room thing where they're trying to throw it to Nelson as a tight end where he doesn't make a play, and then they go back and give it to Decker and stuff. And I love the stat that Decker's got more touchdowns than Eric Ebron, and Kenny Golladay this year. So, but to me, that's a locker room thing, right? And guys like it and hype it up and stuff like that. So when you see guys who don't always get to shine, get a little bit of a spotlight, and their teammates react. That's what Jamal Williams. That's what those if you're lower guys, that's usually what your special teams is, right? You have your special teams players, the guys that bring all the energy, and the guys that are hooting and hollering and stuff like this. So, to me, I mean, where's that clock? Absolutely. Look at that. 16. Can you believe we're here 16? Almost halfway
Sunday
there.
we'll be halfway through, man.
But I'll tell you this, right here, between 8 and 16, there's been a change. And it was ebb and flow for a while, but I think we can all agree is that if you solidify the culture, and you nailed it so eloquently yesterday on the show, is the fact that Brad Holmes, you have trust in. Out of anybody in the last 30 years going to the podium with the Capitol, and why is it? Because his guys he drafts have stats. They got stats.
It's that simple, man.
That's as simple as what you're saying. It's like I went to the auction and I bought these 5 cows, and they all performed for me, and they all gave
cut up
milk,
the steaks,
and
everything,
and it all worked out, right? So, are you not going back to the same auction or going back to get the same cows from the same guy? It's like, don't tell me. This is a prime example. Don't tell me what. Tell me who.
Steven Anderson, Swift stays next, and yeah, that's where it was with that. I think that's pretty. I think that's a pretty simple one. That's pretty much a no-brainer as far as. But
again,
that
rookie
goes.
contract going to the second deal, like all this stuff plays out to where you want it, where he has sort of earned getting back on the field, and durability is a big issue with him. But I mean, that's a bright spot, we can say, right? If he stays healthy, and because what the cap's at.
And we have it here. Somebody in the YouTube chat thread asked, "Would you pay DeAndre Swift? And if so, what's your?" I don't have to worry about that for 2 years. Like see the luxuries that we have that other teams have had in the past that we have never had before. That's the luxuries that I'm talking. You don't have to make.
And here's
that
the
decision
luxury,
today.
right? Where you look at Swift and you look at Amon-ra St. Brown. This is what other teams do to be able to solidify, either hold the bag for the quarterback because they got the other positions that can do it. I mean, it's slowly but surely, Neil. Again, 30,000-foot view coming together all around the D.
Let me ask you this question because we talked about it in the first hour. Pat Riley says Drew Brees was a stat machine. He always seemed too short, not the greatest arm, but somehow he put up historic numbers. Seemed to know his receivers were at all times. This was my thing about Roethlisberger. I've never been a Ben Roethlisberger fan. I never said, "Oh my God, Ben Roethlisberger's playing. I got to watch." And I did do that with Drew Brees at times, where I said, "I'm going to watch this game." And Sam and I have gotten in this argument today, where I think Ben Roethlisberger's everything Drew Brees was, just in that Drew Brees always seemed to lose big games, and all Ben Roethlisberger did was win.
Well, here's where you absolutely the argument stops and where the gray comes in is because they're two different people. And when you get into the person,
that's fair.
No, when you get into the person, when you're suspect and the things around Ben Roethlisberger, and I can say that I don't agree. The athlete's great. I mean, bigger than life. Watching 10 people try to take him down at one time when he was younger. I mean, he was a machine. But that's a detriment because at the end of the day, yeah, you have your 2 rings. What you said is true. But you're going to watch Drew Brees all days for what he stands for and, for the military, for the huddle, for the team. It's not flashy, but he's going to find a way to do it. And it's going to be pristine and precise, and it's not going to be the muscle. And because he's a smaller guy and because he's sort of the underdog, he's easier to root for. Ben's a villain. Ben's a great heel. Yeah. He'd be a perfect heel in Vince's WWE because he doesn't care, right? Like, that's the one thing is that to me, he's got a small compassion for something outside himself. That's not a problem. They just recognize that. But I think that when you're giving somebody their flowers at the end of the day, at the end of the career, because I'm sort of here's the one thing about Pittsburgh fans. Right, and you could see how knowledgeable yet fickle or whatever they were, is that they put everything aside over the past little bit that they weren't, and at the end of that game, you could tell it was one of these, yo, bro, you know what, thanks for doing it for us, we appreciate you, now be on your way, and it's all good like that, the way that it was handled that way, but it's not like we're gonna miss him. Even to what New Orleans is missing Drew Brees. They weren't missing the last few years for his arm strength or whatever, but it's the leadership, and that's the culture that you're talking about. So, to the question that I asked last week or whatever, does Mike Tomlin, right? Which I think we agree upon that we respect Mike Tomlin. I like what he does, and sometimes it gets out of skew, but with Ben leaving, does he get that shit back? And from what I hear from Pittsburgh fans, more than not think that, yes, that's the big issue, and it's gone.
Yeah, and we'll see what they do. I think they're most decidedly going to take a quarterback in the first round of the draft.
But didn't you feel like the fans, it was, all right, now get lost. Yeah. It was like, way to go.
Yeah, and here's where I struggle, DMAC.
Now make sure, remember, you're retiring.
Yeah. And I know we're up against a break right now. Here's where I struggle, DMAC, and this is where I struggle to relate. I'm very introspective. I can analyze things. I don't value that the way other people do, like the Drew Brees community thing versus the Ben anti-community thing.
Because
I don't
you always
care.
say, I don't want you to raise my daughter.
Yeah, I don't want you to take my daughter on a date. I don't want you to raise my kids. I just want to watch you play football, and then I can separate that. What you do between the lines is what you do between the lines. I would rather you not, be a DB. When you get away from the game, but that's not my control. I don't care what you do. I struggle with that.
If our quarterback, as a Detroit Lions, was a big DB that won games and went to the Super Bowl,
I'm cool with
where we're at. We'd all take it because it wouldn't. You know what?
I'm not friends with him. You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly, Sawyer. It doesn't matter anyways, right? Because if you want a new job. Oh, you don't? All right. Because if you do, you want one, you don't want one.
He's going to stay, man.
What's that?
He's going to stay. He's not looking for other work. But we will. We'll
be
back.
What is he going to do? We'll bet.
I think he's going to become a professional foaler. I think that's what he was talking about.
Because he doesn't have to move.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be a professional foaler.
Wait until they start making fouling where you have to move on a different spot.
Well, him and Ben Roethlisberger, I think, will be the two greatest foalers of all time. We were talking about earlier.
Listen, two of the greatest foalers to never throw a foaling ball. Just stand there at the $2 mystery machine. That's you and Big Ben.
Hey, I know Big Ben. I know Big Ben could certainly do that.
Sawyer Bench, a.k.a. Marcus Pouncey Jr. There it is.
Oh, yeah. I have his jersey at home. I got a
Foaling Warehouse. Tell me more.
No, absolutely. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, hey, make sure, too, you're following Woodward Sports on social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitch. We talked about it yesterday. Over 21 million views on YouTube alone. Guys, think about that for a minute. 21 million views on YouTube alone. Now go to TikTok. Now go to Twitter. Now go to Facebook. It's like I say, and I do have to work on getting this footage over to Sawyer. I want the Ric Flair when he came on the Paul Bearer show and got in Hulk Hogan's face, and he's like, "Do you know how long I've waited for this moment? I'm here on your doorstep." And that's what we are right now. To sports media in this town. We're here on your doorstep.
We ain't going nowhere. We got a lot of stuff coming up. We're gonna get this wrestling show going.
But we are going somewhere for a second. We'll be right back with more Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
No off-season for us. We're talking sports. 365. Detroit Sports Network. Woodward Sports.
Motor my way through here. Big D Energy. No longer Big Neil Energy. Big D Energy because DMAC Darren McCarty is in the house. Appreciate you taking some time out of the business dealings to pull up on us here.
Well, anything for the team, anything for the squad. Actually, I think I'll be joining back because, as you know, I'll be out for the next couple weeks running around the state. But Thursday, I don't want to announce anything yet, but I'm working on something that might have a little surprise for you.
All right,
a
cool.
little surprise for the viewers. You might want to stick around, but you'll let it know. But
Connor McDavid's going to come hang out with me or something? Perhaps.
Pretty close. I don't know if see, this person is a little different than Connor McDavid because he has things that Connor McDavid doesn't have.
No, all right, I got you. No, I'm intrigued, man. I'm excited.
I was supposed to bring something up because it was funny on Sunday. And I wasn't going to be in, but all I'm going to say is if you remember the gist of it. But Sawyer, you got some shine on Sunday for Settlers of Catan. Now, listen, there's a big thing out there is that there was some gripe going back and forth or whatever, but the bottom line is unless you've played or know what Settlers of Catan is, then you cannot speak on the subject. Wasn't that what it was?
That was it. That was the gist of it, yeah.
So, hey, Settlers of Catan, how's that going?
Going well.
Do you any more games since then?
Haven't been able to play.
You know what we got to do? We got to set it up. We got to bring it in and just set it up somewhere, and then have a roaming game, like an open game.
Oh yeah,
like a game of chess where you walk by and make a move, and then like the next day your opponent walks by and makes a move.
Yeah, just something like in the rural household.
Do they have a video game of Settlers of Catan?
I was actually looking on the App Store, and they do have an app on the App Store.
No, they
Settlers
don't.
of Catan app.
Oh man, that's
it's like
it.
$3 or $4. So I'd say we just take 1 2-hour show and just play Catan the whole time.
Can we put it on the screen? We have the capability to put it on the screen here behind us.
Oh, we will.
Plug
if
like
we
a phone in or
don't, we
something?
will. Oh my gosh, could you imagine the constant going to Catan?
On a YouTube chat thread, Samuel Rolla says maybe we can sign Michael Gallup and someone good from a winning culture. Not interested next year. The roster's not ready
Didn't he
for
just
it.
go down?
More importantly, the salary cap's not ready for it. We got one more year of pain, guys. It won't be pain like this year. It won't be pain like that. But it will be a year of financial pain next year, especially, too, if you want to line this thing up, because I think we can all agree. And, look, we can go back and forth on quarterbacks or that situation. I think the one thing that we can all agree on is that Trey Flowers – Are you getting return on your investment? I think we can all unanimously agree that the answer is no.
Well, I think what you're looking for is your return on investment with Trey Flowers' stats, and then we would say no, because it's your return on investment on an older guy who's not going to be here, whose contract, right, is one of the ones up in the air. Is he leaving positive on the younger guys, on the McNeils, the Onzariques, the guys that are playing that position? So I look at the veteran guys, no matter what the contract is in this year and whatever, because of the locker room and because of the way these guys fight. So I look to it that these guys are still a huge part, because it's the same thing as going back to the early 90s, mid-90s, like 93, 94, 95. It was the Paul Coffeys. It was the Dino Cicerellis and the guys that weren't there ultimately at the end. The Bob Proberts. The guys who weren't there at the end that had influence on us winning. So it'll be interesting moving forward, and you always hear that when guys talk about different guys.
Yeah, people are excited, too, about the Settlers of Catan bit. Robert, who very kindly sent a game to the studio to give to the toy drive for everybody at the Mott Children's Hospital.
Hey, I got it. What about a Big D Energy, Fulling Warehouse, Settlers of Catan
tournament
game? So the PBR, Old Swilwaukee mystery thing with the Settlers of Catan, and then a fouling.
Oh my God.
And the pizza too? Didn't we order pizza in there? That was delicious.
Oh yeah.
I got it all planned out.
People want to know about this Settlers of Catan thing. Robert says, bring the Catan noise. Mike G, would Catan let Swift walk? I'm just saying we're not to that point in the game yet of Settlers of Catan. What will be something in Settlers of Catan that's 2 years down the road, a decision that you don't have to make right away, that you can kind of let it play out and then decide? Give me something. Give me a real-life Settlers of Catan
Which one of the town
application.
wenches are you marrying?
Is
that one of the questions?
No, it's
okay.
not. I'd say
Wrong
like
game.
for
That
the
was
Lions
DTA.
right now, we're in like the beginning process of Catan. You know, everybody's picking out where they're putting their first settlements. You know, laying down your first couple roads, starting to gather some resources. Like 2 years down the road is building your first city. You know. That's what the Lions are building up to.
Okay.
You know, we're getting our pieces, getting some more resources.
So
get
this
some
is
more dice rolls.
okay. So this is the Lions situation is not indifferent to Settlers of Catan.
It's a nice slow burn.
Settlers of Catan.
We're at a point right now where we've walked in to the land or whatever. We need to get resources, a.k.a. draft capital. Mm-hmm. We have to acquire all those resources that we can. Now we have to start to tackle the aesthetics of everything.
Yeah,
where we
we
want it
built
to
a
be.
road with Amon-ra St. Brown. You know, building roads with our running back game.
Infrastructure.
You know, building roads, with the O-line. You know, DC's a nice little settlement. You know, we're building on top of that.
What would be when we hit the free agency market, when 2023, 2024? What would that point be of Settlers of Catan?
Yeah, that would be like when you start opening up your market. You know, you're trying to trade with other players, get some of their resources to make your empire and city builder, connect some of your roads to get that longest road badge, get 2 extra victory points for endgame, you know?
So something that you have a plethora of, you could then use to acquire, say...
There's draft capital in...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. I am excited for it, though. Mike G, the Lions building the trenches is classic Catan. Mike G sounds like he's like a Settlers of Catan insider.
Yeah, it sounds like it. He knows the ins and outs, it seems.
Yeah.
You know, he's got
And
the
he's
lingo
right,
down.
right? You got to build the line.
Yeah.
Got to build the line. If you don't have that infrastructure, the 3 little pigs, they told us the straw house will come down.
Joey 2 times. Am I the only one that doesn't care about this settling game at all? No, Joey, you know what? I was in your camp before, but they're really starting to hook me right now. They are.
They got me on the theme song, Settlers of Catan.
Mike wants to know, Sawyer, Terry Foster wants to know if you can build a booty lounge in Catan.
I just saw that. It might be in the new DLC they're putting out, you know? Like the new expansion card pack.
Expansion pack? What do they
Terry's
call that?
Tay-Tay pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is. It is pretty funny though. This whole Settlers of Catan discussion. Real quick, DMAC, we didn't have you in yesterday. What were your thoughts on the Michigan-Georgia game?
You know what? It was something that it looked like that one team wasn't prepared for the other. It looked like exactly Kirby Smart and Georgia did to Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines, what they did to Ryan Day and Ohio State. And it just tells me that no matter what you say about the SEC, the top 2 teams, usually the top couple teams, are that good. You know, they always have the talent, and if they're well coached and executed on, and I think that's what it was. What did you see? You saw exactly opposite offensive defensive line of what Michigan did to Ohio State. They got run around. Hutchinson looked small. Ojabo wasn't there. God, McNamara didn't have time. There was no adjustment. I just think that was one of Kirby Smart's best coached games, especially at this time of the year when it mattered. So
he did make a mess of the clock though at halftime and stuff that.
But you know what it was, Neil? He laid off it looked to me proverbial laying off the gas.
He absolutely pulled back on the horse.
No, but so in a lot of times when you're not hammering down, right? When you change, then you will make some of those mistakes, and yeah. And because I remember thinking that too, is that like it doesn't matter. He could give them all your timeouts and do whatever. It didn't matter. Michigan just looked, what it really was. I think it played out the way that one scenario it could have. Like I saw this coming. It was sort of like the Alabama-Cincinnati game. At the end of the day, a little Buffalo because of the score, but Alabama is the cream of the crop now. What I saw in the Georgia, because this is what I was waiting for, and I said all along that I thought they were the best team all year. They were going to get over this, but they looked angry. They looked focused. They looked on a mission. Can they do that to win the championship? But I'll tell you, coming out of that game that they drubbed Michigan, I look forward to watching this national championship game.
Yeah, I do. Just because of the talent that's going to be on that field. Check the NFL draft.
And here's the one thing, right? I have a problem. I have a quote. It's that's not winning, Joint. Where Jim Harbaugh comes out and says it's one of the most successful seasons. I get it. Record-wise, you did good things, but you lost to your in-state rival and you got trucked. You didn't make that extra step. I say, obviously successful year because you did some things, but when you have that expectations, you temper it a little more. And to me, it was more of like happy with where they got. But
I told you that was I got that feeling from the fan base. That coming into that game, that's where I was with it. You know what I equated it to, DMAC? And I know we're up against a break here. I equated it to when you pull up at the light here in Birmingham. We'll use Birmingham as an example. You pull up to the stoplight here on Woodward, and you got a nice Mercedes C-Class sedan. It's very nice. And then maybe you have like a Cadillac SUV. Not the full-on Escalade or whatever. You got like the Cadillac SUV. Very nice car. Very expensive car. But then, in that other lane, the Land Rover Sport Edition with the $15,000 paint job pulls out. That's $122,000. That goes 0 to 60 in like 3.5 seconds or whatever. And then the other side of that, the Rari pulls up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a different class.
There was a different, there were very nice cars over here, very nice cars, but the truth pulled up over here.
But here's the thing that I guess gets scrambled, right? Is because the rest of the cars in that fleet are the same as yours, so you get mystified that you don't
see where I'm getting with
right?
that. And I'm a master of that, right?
Yeah,
like that's what I'm saying. Like you want to be in that class, right? Like you feel like you are in that class,
right? But you also see because the rest their whole conference ain't all. It's Land Rovers and Mercedes and Lamborghinis and stuff like that. No, you look around, you go, I can compete with them, and then the big boys
it's like the old
up.
Cat Williams stand-up when he was talking about the Chrysler 300 and talked about how the Chrysler 300 looks like a Phantom until a Phantom pulls up next to you. You know what I'm saying?
The 300 is one of those cars that gets you to look until you realize sort of what it is, the covert look. But,
until a Phantom pull up.
But regardless, do you got it?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, I got it. Do you got it? Hey, you know what I got? It's football season. We're coming on the stretch of it. There is no doubt about it, but it's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircut for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play. I did that last week. There was a bowl game on the other side of this glass over here. I sat there, Jessica here at the one in Birmingham, cut the hair. Everything was cool. Very entertaining football game on the TV. Some good conversation as well. It was easy. It was simple. Your hair can be game ready. That's all you have to do. Go to Lady Jane's. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in. Sign in. Sit down. It's easy, and it's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Back at it. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network.
Big
Neil
D.
Rule, DMAC, Darren McCarty in the house. Happy to have you all along for the ride with us. Big ups to DMAC for pulling up on us here. He's been away, as I said, and over the course of the next 2 weeks, he's got some business dealings he has to tend to. So his attendance will be, his attendance will be here and there, and we did have it lined up today. Regardless, he was going to join us to talk some hockey. And I felt it was important. And I didn't get into it a lot yesterday because obviously we had to unpack the college football playoff. We had to unpack the Lions locking up. No worse than the second pick in the draft. But don't think I wasn't paying attention. And don't think I wasn't watching. And don't think I wasn't following. Now, we were on the air doing the Lions pregame show while the game was being played. But, DMAC, make no mistake, I was low-key hype for the Red Wings-Bruins game. And there's a multitude of reasons why. A, we flipped the calendar into the new year. We're on into January now, and you know how this goes. You go till April, and playoffs start, the NHL playoffs start, and the Red Wings, you know, as it stood in the standings, were occupying one of those playoff spots. Now I know that they played a lot more games than everybody that's around them, and certainly the Boston Bruins were lurking. But it was that moment, DMAC, for the first time, and I'm not kidding you, man. It's the first time in 4 years where I took notice of a game on the schedule and said, I have to follow this one. Because, and not that this is the red line for the franchise or this game's going to determine what happens going forward for the rest of time with the Red Wings. No, not because of that. Because I was intrigued because there were stakes attached to it. Minor. You know, we're in January. It's minor. But it was the first time, DMAC, where I locked into a game and I said to myself, all right, let's see what goes on. And Boston was Boston. They're a good team. Very, very good team. And Boston drilled the Red Wings in that game on Sunday. Beat them 5-1. It was they were never in that hockey game. There was never really an opportunity to do much in that hockey game for the Red Wings. And as I said to you, I'm not mad. I'm not slamming the table. I'm not saying, Steve Yzerman, what are you doing? I'm still all in. I love the way Yzerman conducts business, especially from a financial point of view. But we're not talking about that right now. I am talking about this game. And I'm not breaking it down, DMAC. I will come out with the positive. For the first time in 4 years, I cared about a regular season game.
That's
I cared.
what it is.
And I always care. And I had a great time opening night, and that was a lot of fun. But I think for a lot of people, they felt kind of the way I did. You're like, oh, you know, I can buy into this team. I believe what Yzerman's doing. I'll check back later, which is what it was. I hadn't been to another game since that time. That was the first time that I paid attention to see, all right, where are they at? And Boston let them know where they were at.
Well, you can,
and I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Care means expectations. The fact that all the hype and whether we have time to look into it. But yes, there's certain stepping stones, measuring sticks. You know, earlier in the year, Detroit was able to go into Boston, hadn't won in a long time, and was able to win that game. Big game on the schedule. I think what's happened here, and I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but with the Omicron, the COVID, and all that stuff happening over the break, and the delays being played, sort of getting back into it, put it off, you know, the Islander game, this and not playing, you could see a lethargy, you know, like amongst the team. And sometimes dog days around Christmas time into the new year, but this team is too young and has too much to prove for that. What we're seeing is their inconsistency. Right? They don't.
Which is that's a young
but that's
team.
part of the youth, and that's part of the fact of not going out and being able to take advantage of these situations. So, yeah, I mean, if we go back and break it down, Neil, there's probably this. I would put this Boston and even the Washington game, right on New Year's Eve, which we used to take utmost pride in winning that game on New Year's Eve. It just made the party so much better, you know. But the fact is, I think that what we're seeing is now this is a time that the good teams tighten up. It gets into that part of the season where you're coming around to the dog days of the season, where this is where the young guys, this is the next. So this is what I question, right? Because it's inevitable. Guys that haven't been in this situation before, I mean, the Moise Siders, the Lucas Raymond, guys that are playing their first full season, right? Getting through the injuries, getting through playing and stuff like that. And which, by the way, you know, these two guys just continue to bring it every night. I mean, I think Mo Sider had a hit list of reverse checks, guys trying to take runs at him, and he just laid them out left and right between Washington and Boston. So these guys are figuring it out. You know, again, Neil, when you look at it, goaltending hasn't been as good as it had to been. And what does the goaltending have to be for this team? It has to be above average. You know, it's got to be, they got to be 925, 930% to give this team a chance. So I guess it's the inconsistencies. The one thing is you want to see them get healthy, and it'll be interesting now, right? Interesting now, moving toward now that the fact that there's no Olympic break, okay? The fact that they have the 3 weeks to fix the schedule, to do whatever, which gives guys rest, which in the long run should help guys get better. But again, it's the consistency. So now, to your point, Neil, and I think that this more than in other years is you won't see what Steve Yzerman has up his sleeve as far as what he's going to use as assets. Is he going to use guys like a Mark Stahl, a Nick Leddy, the veteran guys to accumulate more draft capital? You know, or we also remember you're getting pretty much a trade guy back in Verona, right? He hasn't played all year, so having him back in the lineup is going to help. Again, you're going to hear me sit here all year, and it's going to be consistency and playing that 60-minute game, and they just haven't done it. Right? First, the easiest thing, and there's things you question all around, and when things aren't working, you try different things. But you know, again, it's the power play. So you know,
which was the line that we talked about all year long, which is why Zadina was so big to me, because that's, to me, DMAC, and I think that's when you're a threat. When your power play is upper echelon, you're a threat to win games.
You look at the top teams. You look at what made Tampa Bay go so good is the fact that you couldn't put them on the power play because they're kicking at 30%, right? They can score from anywhere. That's a deterrent. That's like fighting. You have a power play like that puts people on their heels to not take the penalty because it's pretty much like getting beat up, you know. Right. So I mean, it's just one of those things that is frustrating, Neil. And I think that with frustration, it's because expectations have risen. And why shouldn't they? So I looked, like you said, big second half of the year for Zadina. Is this make it or break it time? Is he one of those guys that maybe at the deadline, you know, is moved for something bigger and better? I think that as this team plays out and the games throughout the league even out, you know, everything sort of comes out in the wash. We see what the Omicron, how can you even say, you look at Canada shutting everything down now and this. So we don't even know where we're at. I think that the fact is it's every team's going through it. But again, all along I've been talking about the positive and negative of this team is their inconsistency or their fight to get consistent. And what you saw, can't happen. But here's the one thing. That effort against Boston the other night, where they got it taken to them, that'll happen 2 or 3 times a year to a good team. It's only happened a couple times to that team. So, again, progress. And then, again, what do you do when you get beat like that? How do you respond next game?
Which we'll find out tonight.
It's eager to come out and see how they took it in practice. You know, see what the mentality is. So bottom line is hope everybody's healthy.
Philippe Zadina, by the way, restricted free agent next year. So, you know, that's why, again, DMAC, I'm not just pulling stuff out of thin air. That's why it was so big for me, because you have to make a decision on this guy.
Well, the good thing is we don't. Good thing it's Weiser plan.
Steve Yzerman's got to make a decision.
The decisions are being made by the guy who knows the most.
Which I have total trust. I mean, again,
it's the same thing as Brad Holmes.
Total trust. How can you not?
Yeah.
You know, you got Lucas Raymond for $900,000 a year for the next 3 years. You got Mo Sider.
Robbie Fabry he picked up former first rounder, St. Louis, pretty good. He's putting the team together. It's just because here's the thing: when you see it, and it's anything else, you're a human being. You want it now, and this. To sustain the success that the Red Wing organization is used to from the past, it's not gonna come overnight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe this is a final year too that they pay Zetterberg. I believe Zetterberg comes off the cap after this year. But again, those are, you know, Stephen Weiss is still on the cap, so it's sobering when you hear that, isn't it? But hey, Stevie Weiss got it. But hey, $34 million in cap space next year, so he's got the ammo. You know, depending on what he wants to do, what he feels ready to do, and certainly there's another draft coming too. The Lions and the Red Wings are on the same highway.
What's the year after, right? Because here's the whole thing: is that you can't look too far out because the more you see it, the greener the grass is.
Yeah, I mean, even in 2022-23, like if you go a couple years up ahead for the Red Wings, I mean the numbers just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow with what they are, and they're pushing $40 million of cap space in 2022-23, and that's with Dylan Larkin already on the books too, and Verana already on the books, and Tyler Bertuzzi already on the books. Yep. So it's coming, folks. It is. There's no doubt about it, and look what they've been able to do and everything that's gone along with it. We'll continue that Red Wings discussion a little bit when we come back. I do want to touch on the Pistons as well.
Big win.
That was a big win. That was a big win for a couple of reasons. We'll discuss when we come back. This is Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
Coming down the stretch here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, DMAC, Darren McCarty in the house. Sam is in the sound booth. Sawyer is in the production booth as well. YouTube chat thread, Mike G says, I was told Zadina would be a power play sniper. So there is that. And guys, decision's going to have to be made. There is no doubt about it. A little bit of breaking news, been out for a few minutes now, but The Athletic has reported that David Ojabo has declared for the NFL draft. So we will see how things break out. And I can't help but think that what happened on New Year's Eve will muddy the waters as far as Hutchinson and Ojabo are concerned, because that was their stiffest test. They weren't playing that game at home. They were in a neutral site. They were up against grown men.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Is that
obviously you're going to look
at Ojabo as somebody you can develop it more, like a Ziggy Ansah that was here, like a guy like that doesn't have as much experience. Second round guy maybe. You know what I'm saying? But how could that not hurt their draft stock unless somebody absolutely knows what they want? So. But good for them, right? We would talk about it all along. You get the opportunity to go get your money and go chase your dream, then go do it. And we talked about it all along, how integral part of Aiden Hutchinson's success was Ojabo, and Ojabo's success was Aiden Hutchinson. So it's always interesting when you have two great pass rushers or teammates that you know if they end up in the same spot or not.
Yeah.
That was always interesting to me, is the way that Vancouver drafted the Sedin twins. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's just crazy like that. So it'll be interesting.
Pat Riley says, Darren McCarty had a great career, great comeback. I looked up his stats as I don't follow hockey and live in Wisconsin, no NHL team. The rings seem to be won with physical play and grit. So, you got a new fan out there, DMAC, so I figured I would throw that one out there. But, yeah, we are talking Detroit Red Wings right now, and I forget who it was that said in the YouTube chat thread, what was it? They said Zadina and Samuelson appear to be misses. Rasmussen, I'm sorry. That was Paul N. Rasmussen and Zadina both appear underwhelming. Definitely misses when you looked at where they were picked. And you're not going to hit them all. Nobody. The best is not going to hit them all. But the key is, for me, it's not missing. The key is not doubling down on a mistake.
Right.
And if a guy can't be used, then you need to cut him.
And how many times has that happened? But some of the greatest coaches, I mean, Belichick, who comes to mind, is "What have you done for me lately, guy?" or whatever like this. So it's not double down on that mistake, or because of how many times you see this, because he was that first rounder, right? Get moved around or get all the opportunity because he's got the talent. We can bring it out in him. So.
Honolulu Blue Sparty. Hey, everyone, just getting on. Did I miss any of the turtleneck conversation? Your thoughts on guys wearing turtlenecks? You don't seem like a turtleneck guy.
Well, I have. It is when it's cold. I'm not Chris Osgood is the turtleneck guy. Okay, yeah. So as long as he's the king of the turtlenecks, that's his go-to. I'm not. I'm more like a mock. I like to wear a scarf. to keep it warm.
Like I'll wear a heat shield, like the Nike compression like turtleneck thing.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go out shoveling the snow or snow blowing the snow or whatever, if I'm going to be out in the winter, I will do it then. But it's not a turtleneck.
No,
like I'm not wearing.
That's a Chris Osgood. Chris Osgood's staple is a turtleneck.
And the whole discussion was kind of born from Talik's performance doing the Lions game with Gus Johnson on Sunday.
Aqib's with the chain.
Yeah, Aqib Talik's. He looked like he was ready to go to New Jack City. You know what I'm saying? Like he had the black turtleneck with the CMB chain on there right now, and I respected it. Like it's cool. It's not a move I'm gonna make.
Well, here's the difference. Different people can pull off different things, right?
Yeah.
Like some people shouldn't have a tattoo. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I do absolutely 100% turtleneck in the outdoor winter games when it's cold. I play out there in Toledo.
Different.
I had a turtleneck on, but
that's different.
But I'm not gonna go out rocking turtlenecks. That's just me.
Sawyer, you were a turtleneck guy, right?
When I had to sneak it like under a Marvin Harrison or Peyton Manning jersey to wear that to school. Yeah, because like if you weren't wearing a collared shirt, you had to wear a turtleneck or something. But I mean, I've done the whole turtleneck under a sport coat thing.
Oh,
for like a party or something. But like I'm not like going to a formal
Is that like
event.
a frat party though? That's not like your grandma's birthday party or something like that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, it was a frat party. Yeah,
of course.
But yeah, I'm not going to a professional event and be like, oh, what turtleneck should I wear today? Like no.
Detroit Dabber 313. Claude Lemieux loved turtlenecks. Can you confirm?
You got his turtleneck ruined.
Emerald Eyes says Jalen Green loves turtlenecks. We always got that one coming back there. Epic says Russians can wear turtlenecks. I don't classify it to that.
Yeah,
Sergey wore a turtleneck back in the day.
If you have images of just different pictures, teammates or whatever like that. When they did the Russian 5, they did them all in black turtlenecks and whatever. And I just remember Igor looking so stoic and stuff as a professor.
Russians can pull off. They got some cool looks.
Stoic. Anything stoic.
Yeah.
They can pull off whatever.
AC, Neil's got a gold chain. Just get the black turtleneck. Oh, yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I should give it a spin. Yeah, so YT Sparty, do you have a turtleneck? Sam, where are you on the turtleneck? You're team flannel. Like you're always rocking that Debo from Friday flannel all the time.
Yeah, I'm definitely a flannel guy. Turtlenecks, that was something that, your mom made you wear to church when you were like 6 or 7, and I hated it. I felt like I was choking.
AC says a lot of Russian MMA guys wear the turtleneck.
Fish is a turtleneck guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he gives me that.
Day.
It's more like an internet. I'm gathering that it's more of an international type thing. The whole turtleneck scenario.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Fashion international. Well, that makes to it. Our great lawyer out there, Robert, said I once saw a Hugo Boss store in Nuremberg. That's in Germany. With a display turtleneck under a suit. That's how you roll, champs.
So it is like a European Russian.
It's more like that. You don't get rock Swedes too, right? Zetterberg, Lundqvist, Lidstrom, not Holmstrom, Lidstrom. But yeah, I got more European, but it's colder, right?
Right. Klompsaw says Eiserman, Shanny, Fedorov pictures. They had the black mock necks on.
Yes, that's
looked
that
like
one
Death
too.
Row
Yep.
Records picture.
That's it. Right? Exactly. That one too.
I haven't had a Suge Knight discussion in a long time, man. Death Row Records, man. That was where it was at. No, I love it. I do want to talk about the Pistons game last night. Just for a little bit, which we will handle when we come back. But guys, look. Guardian Alarm, they get it. A good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology, helps you feel safe with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that you check in on your home, control your lights, temperatures, all from your phone. You can detect smoke or carbon monoxide as well. It'll even let you lock and unlock the doors. call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm's been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe. If you want to keep your family safe, let's call the number. Let's call, 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Get out of my house.
Get out of Sam's house. Get out of Fish Bowl. Leave Sawyer alone.
Yep. And get Guardian Alarm, folks. You're going to do the alarm thing, Guardian Alarm. There's no other alternative. That's it. Guardian Alarm.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
The pros know. Go! Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
Coming down the stretch here, final segment of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Honolulu Blue Sparty wants Sawyer to have a settler second with Sawyer, like the Motorsports Minute. What day are you rocking the Motorsports Minute this week?
Oh, whatever day works. I'll do it any
You tell
day.
me, man.
Can't be anything
Thursday.
going on now.
Thursday or Friday. Oh, we'll find
Lewis
something, though,
Hamilton's
DMAC.
still bitching.
Yeah.
There's got to be some juicy gossip somewhere,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I mean, we got NASCAR's testing the next gen car. Indy car's getting ready. I mean, the Detroit Grand Prix coming back. So there's stuff going
went
on.
to the 6.
There's stuff going on.
And DMAC, I don't think were you here that day? You weren't here the day we did the Motorsports Minute with Sawyer.
I was.
Oh, were you? That's
yeah.
right. And that's where
we're gonna go wrestling and racing.
Yeah, wrestling and racing, baby.
Would you want a settler second? Where you talk about Settlers of Catan? Literally 1 second.
I don't know how much news there is on Settlers of Catan, but
You get 1
maybe.
second to talk about it. And then
Okay.
Sam kills the mic.
Yeah.
Resources.
Yeah. Stone.
Pistons did get a big win yesterday for the first time in 16 tries. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks. They haven't beaten them since 2018. Huge game for Saddiq Bey. He's on a heater right now. He was 8 of 13 from behind the three-point line. Cade Cunningham had 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists.
And down the stretch again. Big
Closer.
down the stretch. He's a closer. He wants it. And you mentioned the fact first defeat in 16 games against the world champions, stuff like this. But do you know why it's a big deal? Because Cade Cunningham said it was a big deal. Right? Said inside that locker room was a big deal. It's the same thing as I go back to what he said, is that the more we play together, the better we get to know each other, and the more
You're riding with Cade more than you even thought you would, aren't you? Like
I was riding with him since Jalen Green.
I knew you were. I knew you were on him.
I'm riding with because you know what? The fact of that you've brought me into the point that I love the fact of the assassin. I love the fact that him not being scared to take it over, him not being afraid to learn. But the thing I love the best is his maturity. A young father who he's more mature than so many people his age, and he doesn't just talk it, he leads it and he walks it, but he's doing it, not trying to get there real quick like young guys always do that don't know any different. He's got this pace to him, and he knows it's going to be all of us together. To me, and this is why I like to talk to Terry about it, and I'm not comparing him to Isaiah, but what I'm comparing to is he has the ability that people want to gravitate towards him and want to follow him and play for him because of what he stands for. Now, Isaiah was more, I'm going to rip your throat out, more of a killer mentality with the smile, right? And that's the thing why people always got Isaiah misconception, because he's so sweet, so good looking, but that's a killer. That's like a serial killer assassin on the inside that just wants to take that game from you. Well, Cade's the same sort of way, but he knows his self-awareness to his surroundings and what he's a part of and what the bigger picture is. That's the maturity. Right? That's the maturity, the embrace and stuff and all these little things. So I guess the fact that I'm all in, because it's the same thing as when I look at the Red Wing of the organization and I see Dylan Larkin as their captain, and I look at the Pistons and I see Cade Cunningham as their guy.
Follow that guy.
I'm set.
Yeah.
I'm set for these guys. And you know what? Yeah, I'm I'm going to cry and moan every now and then when they lay an egg against Boston, when they don't play, when they're inconsistent stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't worry about that locker room. I don't worry about who's leading and who's following and who's the one that's standing in there going, hey, no, we don't do it that way. This is how we do it. That's what it is. Big picture. Let's get some popcorn. Let's go for the ride. and so last night it was big because you hear these guys talk, and then you look at Sadiq Bey, and these guys still try to find their way, and they've been sick, and 18 guys out and stuff like this. So this, to me, knowing perseverance it can breed winning. It can breed self-confidence, self-awareness, not only in yourself but in your teammates. So that's what I love to see. I just love the person. And every time that he opens his mouth, he plays, he says something or whatever, am I grateful that we drafted him, not Jalen Green. Every time, Neil. Like, it doesn't. It's one of those things that I hear him talk. And I know Terry says it, so you might want to give Kate a tissue. Sometimes it sounds like that blows his nose. Yeah. Not one to talk, but here's the thing. Every time it's like E.F. Hutton. And who has that effect? That's Steve Eisman had that effect.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm going to say that Cade Cunningham has the ability to have the same effect because that's the type of people we're looking at.
Dom Rivera says, I feel like Cade has rubbed off on Sadiq Bey. Sadiq looks so chill and composed during the whole game. And there is an element to that. You talk about that all the time. And even when you played for the Red Wings, what you see in Cade Cunningham, all that kind of stuff. There is the locker room thing. And look, I've kind of poo-pooed it from time to time where you show me a winning team and I'll show you a good culture. I'll show you a winning culture. Like, they kind of go hand in hand. But there is something to that. There is something to a locker room.
You know what it is, Dale? It's the sustainability to things going bad. When's the glass going to break? When's the ice going to break, right? Now, things are going good, but the ice breaks, boom, every man for himself. Like a lot of championships, a lot of teams that are built that way on talent, but really at the end of the day when they all, they have that buffer like they're all in it together, but they really aren't. That's why you need to go through some deep stuff. Right, you got to go. That's why you have to care on a different level for the guy beside you. So there is something bigger than that too, and it's who's setting the precedence, right? Who do you look at on your, no matter what team it is, that who makes them tick? It's the same thing as when I came in and brought about Ben Roethlisberger leaving Pittsburgh. It's the best thing for Pittsburgh because it takes that cloud out of there. Right? where I asked can Mike Tomlin get it back because he's, to me, the positive, more of the light, and to everything else. So we're in good shape here in a lot of reasons. And again, so big win last night. I don't care. Anytime you beat any defending champion in any sport.
The biggest underdog point spread wise to win a game outright in the last 5 years, I believe, was the number with the Pistons. I think they closed at a 17-point underdog last night.
Did I see that right? I think Easy was bet that on the money line too.
He did not.
Yeah, I saw the bet, but I don't know if he parlayed it. I don't know if he was stupid. He parlayed with someone lost. Stay tuned. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Easy, baby.
Yeah, he parlayed that with the under on Tom Brady's passing yards on Sunday and lost because he's not impressed with Tom Brady. Easy took a beating today. He took a beating.
Wait, he did?
Oh, out here on the YouTube chat thread, yeah.
Oh,
Tammy Chin.
Yeah, that's good.
I agree with you, Neil, about the winning culture. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a bigger talent guy than I am. Like, you can have like a good locker room. If you don't got dudes, you're not going to win. Like that's just the way that it goes. You do have to have talent.
But here's the thing. It's the secret sauce, right? You can get a different way, and that meal tastes good. But you need that combination because once you slide that secret sauce in, then you're locked.
Yeah,
that's what Cade is. Secret sauce.
Hey, Sawyer, I know you keep eyes on the YouTube chat. What's Robert saying? Can you translate what Robert's message is about racing, I'm going to guess?
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about like how many turtlenecks race car drivers really need to wear. Because, you got your fireproof suit on. That could count as one. Then they got to wear like their headgear, which is another one, which is also flame retardant. And then there's like another thing they got to throw on. So they're wearing like 2 or 3 turtlenecks every time they race.
Yep.
That's just basically what it was. Just YouTube chat stuff.
Yeah, but they're going 280 miles an hour, so it's got to be cold.
Oh, yeah. And, if you crash, you catch on fire.
Hey, I've done the 2-seater a bunch of times, dude.
That's cool.
Down in Detroit on Belle Isle.
Yeah. Honolulu Blue Sparty says Hamidou Diallo needs to start, trade Grant. Yeah, there seems to be more and more chatter about that. I read a story on The Athletic yesterday by James Edwards that talked about possible destinations. The return, I think, would be underwhelming to you guys just in our fantasy football world that we live in. But at the same time, they're not there yet where you're gonna break the bank and extend Jeremy Grant and do all that kind of stuff. Austin, Lord Apollo 17. Good show, guys. Been listening in the background. Hey, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate everybody that tapped in as well. DMAC, thanks for you for pulling up on us as well. We'll be in touch.
I'll be back Thursday.
Business dealings. Yeah. All right. So he's back in Thursday. There you go. And hey, big ups to Sawyer, Sam, everybody for getting involved in the YouTube chat thread. My name is Neil Rule. Thanks for watching Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.
That's not winning, Joik.